So today we're gonna see what is spiral SDLC model, what is spiral SDLC model, advantage, disadvantage, and when to use it. So let's start. What is spiral model? Spiral model is not so well known as other SDLC models such as waterfall model. For example, and here is the reason, spiral model can be pretty costly to use and does not work well for small projects. So keep in mind that you cannot use spiral model on small projects, and why we're gonna talk about it later. So then it's a risk driven model, which means that the overall success of a project highly depends on the risk analysis phase. Risk analysis requires specific expertise on every iteration. Thus, to review and analyze the project from time to time, special skills are needed. At first sight, it might seem like this model is complicated and clumsy, and there are no reason to consider this approach as one of your options. But like any other SDLC models, spiral model, besides its disadvantages, has its unique strong sides. For example, there is a possibility to add some additional functionality at the last stages of software product development. Since risk monitoring and regular expertise are core characteristics of this methodology, the overall project becomes more transparent. In few words, spiral model of software development can be characterized by repeatedly iterating a set of elemental development processes and eliminating risks. So it is actively being reduced. To understand how you can get your goal using spiral model, let's take a look at this diagram. So as you can see, spiral model consists of four main software development lifecycle phases. The whole development process repeatedly passes through these stages. Each iteration is called a spiral. So as you can see, the model is going like spiral. So let's understand it more. The four main phases of spiral model are these: determine objects, identify and resolve risks, plan the next iteration, development and test. It's kind of spiral. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Determine objects, identify and resolve risk, development and test, then plan the next iteration. So let's understand one by one. Then I will explain it with the example to better understanding. So one, determine objectives. This is where everything starts. Team members try to gather the product objectives requirement, example business requirement specification or BRS, system requirement specification or SRS, alternative in design, etc. In the subsequent spirals, all requirements are generated according to the customer's feedback. Thus, permanent communication between customer and project management is crucial. Then let's see what to identify and resolve risk. Risk analysis phase is probably the most significant development stage. What are the risks in the context? Risks are possible conditions and events that prevent the development team from its goal. There is a wide range of them, from trivial to fatal. The primary task for the development team is to enumerate all the possible risks and prioritizing them according to importance. The next step is determine the potential strategies that can help to overcome the risk. Evaluation of these parameters can cause changes in the next step. At the end of this stage, a prototype is produced. Then three is development and test. This is when the planned product is developed along with further testing. During the first spiral, when the overall requirements are not so clear, the so-called proof of concept is created to get the customer's feedback. Later in subsequent spiral, a working version of the product called build can be developed and sent to the client to get new, more detailed feedback. Such as approach allow achieving higher clarity of requirement. So when it's done, then we move to the fourth, plan the next iteration. This page allow evaluating the output of the project to date before the project continues the next spiral. In fact, spiral model is pretty flexible. You should remember the diagram we have talked about contains some oversimplification. It may seem that everything on the project follows a single spiral sequence while it's not. Real life project life cycle is more agile and flexible than this simple representation. There is even a possibility to revisit the previous decision. Now let's try to understand the spiral model with an example. Suppose we have to build a project where we have to implement 12 different features. So in that case, we will break the projects in 4 parts and we will work on only 3 parts first round, as you can see this round. So we will determine the objective of these 3 features, then identify the risk of the development and test. Then identify the risk, then development and the test. After that, we will again plan about a next 3 feature, and like this in 4 rounds all the project requirement will be fulfilled. As you can see here, it's going through like a spiral. First round we get something done, second round we get something done, and like it will be go on and on. So as you see, spiral model is very flexible. In this approach, we can add any additional functionality anytime on the project. So because we are not relying on the any step that it should be finished, then we can move on. It's kind of spiral. Like if any feature misses, we can add it on the next spiral or next round. Many big companies use spiral on their project and they keep going with it so they can introduce new feature on their every new version release. Now let's see some advantages and disadvantages of spiral. After that, we will see when to use it. Let's see. Advantages of spiral model. The advantages of this spiral model is, first of all, risk monitoring is one of the core parts which makes it pretty attractive, especially when you manage a large and expensive project. Moreover, such approach makes your project more transparent because by design each spiral must be reviewed and analyzed. Second, customer can see working product at the early stage of the development life cycle. As I told you that whenever the first round done, and I give you the example, from 12 feature, first of all we make 3 done. So after when we make the 3 done, then the client can see their product that it's developing at this stage, and so he can check the product very early stage. He don't have to wait for the end of the project like waterfall model. Then different changes can be added at late life cycle stage. Like if I like let's suppose we have 12 feature and after some time we think that we should add 4 more features, then we can add four more features on the next, or you can say that the fifth round or 6th round we can add this feature. Project can be separated into several parts and more risky of them can be developed earlier, which decrease management difficulties. Then project estimate in the term of schedule. Cost become more and more realistic as the project move forward and loop in spiral get completed. Then last, strong documentation control. Now let's see what is the disadvantages of the spiral model. There are few. Since risk monitoring requires additional resources, this model can be pretty costly to use. Each spiral requires specific expertise, which makes the management process more complex. That's why spiral SDLC model is not suitable for small projects. Then a large number of intermediate stages. As a result, a vast amount of documentation. Then time management may be difficult. Usually the end date a project is not known at the first stage. So these are the disadvantages of spiral model. Now let's see when to use it. The spiral model should be used in that kind of project it was initially designed for. It can be good option if you face a medium or high risk project and costs are highly important. A customer is unsure completely about his needs and requirements are complex and significant change are expected. So this was the spiral model. Hope you understand it very well. Let me know if you have any question. Thanks for watching. Be safe, be good, peace.